So today I wanted to show you a new tab on my website for audio plugin developers or people who just want to start developing their own plugins. And it basically goes through everything you need to know to start creating your own audio plugins and why you should do it, what skills you need, different tools you can use for that, and stuff like that. So I actually wanted to just look at this website and talk you through it and just look at different things I wrote here and explain it kind of more. So let's just do that. So at the start I have like a little text about myself that I started developing audio plugins not more than half a year ago, that I created this plugin here that you can also see on my website. I learned what I should improve in my next plugins, and yeah, so this is the page for that plugin. It's called Gnarl and it's like a distortion plugin with filters for the dry and wet channels, and you have like a little reverb here. So here I wrote about the plugin and like my experience with audio plugin development. And here's like a little list with links to each part of the article. So as you can see, first we will look at why you should develop audio plugins, what skills do you need to get started, some important tools, how digital audio works, resources for DSP algorithms, and how to actually start developing audio plugins. So first we have why should you develop audio plugins, and I usually answer that question really simple, just because you want to have fun and express yourself using those plugins. You should probably concentrate on making the most creative plugins you can and have fun while doing that. I linked an example here. It's Freak Show Industries, and as you can see, this is like a really weird plugin development company, and they have like a few plugins here on the website, and you can actually see that it's more of like a experimental kind of thing, I guess. And here you can just see that the copyright is like a year that doesn't exist, and you know, there's stuff like that. But it's basically like a really creative plugin company. So let's just look at like a plugin here, Pocket Dimension. And this is one that is not that weird, but like the other ones are even crazier. And I don't actually remember what it does. I think it just adds some effects, like when you zoom in and move this little thing here, but I'm not really sure. And you know, it's just like really creative and fun. Just like this person or company, they just play around with it, they create what they want, yeah, so they just have fun doing that. That's this company, and I just wanted to show them because they actually make really creative and original plugins, and they're also really popular. 800 reviews is extremely good, and it's also top rated and hot and you know, stuff like that. So these plugins are actually pretty popular, and you can check out like YouTube as well. There you're going to find like tons of reviews on them and stuff like that. The market is actually really generic. If you just look at many companies, they make like basic EQs, compressors, but actually you should kind of play around with it, have fun, and maybe create something interesting other people will like as well. So that's what I'm talking about here on the example of this company. What skills do you need to get started? So actually little to none, because it's actually not like having some knowledge in I don't know, UI and UX design is going to help you that much. Obviously it will help you in that part, but then you also need to know how to code, you need to know how to use C++, you need to know how to use Juice, you need to know things about DSP. You know, it's not going to help you that much in the like big development process of a plugin. It is certainly good to have some experience with parts of it, but it won't like make the process extremely easy for you. So the hardest part is obviously C++, but you don't actually need it for a lot of tools I listed down here. So let's just move to the tools. So here are some tools listed. And let's just go through them quickly. So Juice is the most popular one, and it's the one I use as well. And it basically lets you create your audio software and audio plugins. It's like a framework for C++, and you can build your own plugins and other audio software on top of it. It's open source, and as you can see here, there are 2 free plans, educational and personal, and you can make up to 50k with the personal account. And then if you want to actually make a lot of money, you can just look at these two options here. You can pay each month, or you can pay once. And I don't actually know if it works for all of the versions if you pay once, but you know, just read it on the website. Probably down here there are some questions about it. Yeah, so it's basically almost free, open source, and you can export plugins into all of these formats here. So these are like all of the standard formats, and you can also export into clap and things like that, but you will need some extra stuff for that. So the next tool is iPlug2. So let's just go to the website, and right here you can see the GitHub page of it. It's open source as well, and I think it's 100% free. It's basically really similar to Juice, so you also need C++ for it. And the biggest disadvantage of it is that there aren't a ton of tutorials on it and other learning material. That's why it's not perfect for many people, but still I would really recommend it if you're into open source software and if you want to get something completely for free that is really powerful. So the next tool is Heis. I actually used it before, and I had some trouble with exporting plugins, but now that I know how to do it, I could probably solve all of those problems. But it's not really good for beginners with installing all of this stuff. As you can see here, you can just connect different things and make them work together, and all the little blocks are already written for you. So here you can see how it looks. This person here, David Healy, he makes a lot of videos about Heis, so there are some tutorials on it. So it's really interesting, and it has a lot of options for you. It's built on top of Juice, so that's not perfect, because if you look here, so you can use the open source license for it, but then your plugins also need to be open source. And if you want to actually make your plugin commercial, you can see that it's pretty bad here. It's like 300 euros a month if you make more than 50k in a year, which is not really perfect. Then you also need to pay for Juice, so don't really like that, but it seems like a really interesting tool, and it's really simple for beginners. Then I just look at these tools here. So Maximus P, probably a lot of you already know it. It's like a tool where you can connect little blocks to get sound out of them, and you can actually export it into VST. And then you can see that Max for Life is also one on the list, and this is actually made for Ableton Live, and it's the same thing as Max. You can see here it looks the same, but it just works as an Ableton Live device, and it obviously costs some money as well. But if you have the best edition of Ableton Live, the sweet one, you will get it here as well. So let's just scroll down, and you can see that Max for Live is checked here. Then Pure Data is like an open source alternative to it, and as you can see here, there are a lot of versions of it. There is also a plugin version of it, and I think there is a way to export Pure Data patches into plugins, but you'll need to search on how to do it yourself, because I don't actually know that. And those tools are really good for making like DSP algorithms, but they're not really completely perfect for making plugins, because with Max for Live you can only make live devices. With Maximus P, as long as I know, you can only make VST2 plugins, which you can't actually get a license for anymore. And with Pure Data it's just a bit complicated, and I don't think that you can actually make custom user interfaces with it. So that's not really perfect for making plugins, but it's definitely good for learning DSP. And then we have PluginScript, which is an amazing tool created by Bluecat Audio, and you can basically just write your own scripts and load them into here. And these are AngelScript scripts, which is really similar to C++, but you can also write in C++ as well. and the user interface is generated automatically for you, but you can also edit it using the KUML programming language, which I think is like a language developed by Bluecat Audio for user interfaces of their plugins, and I have a video on how to use it on my channel as well. So there are a few more ways to develop audio plugins by building them on the SDKs for VST, audio units and things like that. So then I have like a little section about digital audio and how it works. So how digital audio works is you have a signal. This is not a great representation of it, but this is how it looks. Here's like the 0 line, and then it just goes up, down, and sometimes it just stutters a bit and stuff like that. Or it can be just like a square wave. If you just play a square wave, it can be like really complicated, like something like that, and then it just gets crazy here. Then just like you have probably seen some waveforms in your life, and that's how digital audio looks. So this is like a normal sine wave, and let's just look at it on different spots here, and each of those spots has like a value. So here it's going to be 0, here it's going to be like 0.1, and here it's going to be maybe like 1, and here it's maybe going to be like 0.89721 or something. So these are like values on each spot, and then you can also have more channels than 1. You can have 2, 1 for the left ear and 1 for the right. They can be different, and both of them consist of samples as well, and samples are those values here. So a plugin actually gets a block of samples, which consists of usually 2 channels, but sometimes 1, and then it just has a lot of samples in here. For example, 512 and 2 channels, and there's like a block that the plugin gets, and then all of that is processed and it's given out back to the host, which is your DAW, and you receive this block from your host as well. That's how it actually works in a plugin. You get your block from the host, you process it, and then you give it back to the host. I don't know if that was a good explanation. You can also read it here. If you already understood it, that's great. If you didn't, just stop the video and read this or go to the website. So then I have some resources for DSP algorithms, and what DSP algorithms are is what actually processes that block in the plugin. For example, an EQ uses DSP algorithms for the filters, which make certain frequencies quieter or louder. Let's just go to Hack Audio. There are some DSP algorithms and categories here. There's a video and some text. There are like a lot of different sources for that. Music DSP is like a collection of posts from different people, and it's actually pretty old, but you can get a lot of different algorithms here. So here I clicked on effects, and as you can see, all of those here are the effects you can find here. Then you click on filters, and these are some filters here, and that's actually really great for creating your own audio plugins. You don't need to write it from scratch, you already have it in some of these sources. Then you just basically translate it into C++ or whatever you're using, and then you have like a working DSP algorithm. And there are also some YouTube channels on this topic, like Hack Audio, Akash Murthy, The Audio Programmer, and Beatsbuster. How do you actually start developing audio plugins? I would recommend to use Juice, but you can choose any other tool from the list above. And then here you can see some tutorials on different things, different blogs. And you can see some videos from my channel as well, like here. Just look through it. There are tons of YouTube videos, websites for example, PluginScript, and a KVR forum for audio plugin development, which is actually really big. As you can see, there are 12,000 topics here. So if you want to start developing your own audio plugins, definitely get into it, have some fun, be creative, create some plugins, I guess. Just go for it. You have nothing to lose. It's going to be really fun, and with this website you can actually get to know like simple basics of it, and check out all of these sources here for more deeper explanations and tutorials. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, consider subscribing to the channel and liking this video.